Mike at it. You know, I've been pondering over the which came first, the chicken or the egg, which I have figured out, by the way. I'll let y'all know later. But it's in the 12 and 12. Anyway, it's supposed to be a book joke, but only one or two got it, which is par for the course, actually. That's very good. But no, seriously, the why one is before the other. When I was reading Dr. Bob and the Good Old Timers, they talked about the camel, and they talked about that's why we say one day at a time, because the camel can go without water for 24 hours. But also they talked about how when he kneels down at night, he takes his packs off, and that God's only going to give us enough that as much as we can carry. And they were talking about the camel. They were talking about several examples of the camel. I remember them talking about it. That's, because obviously I couldn't just make this up, So when I think about the at night thing, it only makes sense because you've always heard since we were kids, married couples don't ever go to bed angry. That was the thing that people used to say, or I guess they still say it. And probably old things that people say, and they've been saying forever, they say them for a reason. I just need to figure out why they say them. And for me, when I think about the camel, and I think about putting down my burden, and I think about the old saying, and I think about subconscious. And then it begins to make sense why it would stand to reason to try to deal with something before I go to bed. Because if I go to bed and I got all this swirling around in my head, am I going to sleep as well? Well, we know the answer's no. If I try to rectify something and I feel a sense of closure or a sense of understanding by doing it when we retire at night instead of waiting, it starts to make sense if I want to get better rest. I mean, I think that there's some logic to it. I don't know that there's any mathematical formula why they picked, other than it makes sense. There's something about the camel. There's something about the burden. There's something about the subconscious. And how do I get better rest? Well, I deal with stuff and get some perspective before I lay my head down. Because I don't know about y'all, but if I can sit there and toss and turn and my mind can go crazy, I'll never get any sleep. And I envy those people that can just immediately go to sleep like that. I'm not one of those people. So I won't belabor the reason why this is first. I think I've explained where I come from on it and thrown in a little AA history, and it's got to have something to do with the camel. But it's really made me think of phrases that I no longer say or I don't partake in that are so readily thrown around in recovery. One is people will say, and I think it's fake humility when they say it, but even old-timers will say, I've been around this long and I still don't know anything. You won't ever hear me say that because it's ridiculous on its face. I mean, surely we've learned something. And believe me, I have a reason why I'm going in this vein. Another one is I won't ever say that I'm still powerless, because powerless is helpless, hopeless, and ineffective. And now I'm no longer helpless. I have hope, and what I'm doing is effective. I mean, sometimes the logic is missed in our, I guess, thought that this must be real complicated. No, it's real simple. You're either still hopeless or you're not. And what does the newcomer need to hear? That somebody's been here for a while and they're not hopeless. And I think I recall in the forward to the first edition, that's the purpose that they wrote the book, to show others precisely how they had recovered from that hopelessness. But the last phrase, and it really ties to this topic, that I don't subscribe to, and y'all will know that it's thrown around so easily, and I again think it's fake humility. And that comes from Dr. Bob and the Good Old Timers. I highly suggest you go look that up on Google and see what Dr. Bob had to say about what he thought about that fake humility he started seeing people throw around in meetings just so people would think they're spiritual. See what he thought about it. I won't go belabor it. I could, but I won't. But the one that really fits for this topic is, when I wake up every day untreated. You know they throw it around. But is it true? And for me to really think about, is it true, I guess I have to reflect on what it was to be untreated. What was it like to really be untreated? When I was untreated out there, did I wake up thinking, where am I going to go to a meeting today? No, sir. Did I wake up thinking, who do I need to make amends to from the day before? No, sir. And I could go down a list of about 20 questions, and you go, wow, that's what it would be. I woke up wanting to find some dope. That's what it's like to be untreated. Now let's put that in perspective of what it's like to wake up to somebody who's doing this on a daily basis and working the steps. And let's say that they've done that when we retire at night. Do I get untreated that quickly? And the answer is absolutely no. Because if I wake up knowing there's something I need to do in recovery, I'm treated. If I wake up thinking about where am I going to go to a meeting, I am not untreated. I am treated just enough for me to know I need to keep up my treatment. That's my point. Sometimes we can get caught into this trap of parroting things that we hear with little or no thought about what they mean and how somebody else is perceiving them. That's why you won't never hear me say, I've woke up untreated and I wake up untreated, because I just logically proved to you it's a fallacy. So these steps keep me treated enough so I can wake up in the morning to know I need to keep getting treated. And I just wanted to throw something in a different direction, because I didn't want to weigh in on whether I do written or not, whether I do it with the app on the phone or not, whether and all the other things that people have covered in masterly detail. And I just said, I don't need to add to that. But I did want to add to some things that went in a slightly different direction, but with the common theme of we're doing these things when we retire at night so we can wake up and do some more things. Because if I really woke up untreated, do you really think that I would be on that second part when I look at the day ahead? Hell no, I wouldn't be thinking about that at all. So thank goodness that people who have been around here long enough know that they know something. Not everything. Thank goodness that people who came before me were able to tell me that they woke up treated enough to know they need to keep getting treated, that we never graduate. Yeah. Why do I still sit in this chair? My God, do you really think I came here because I wanted to get high tonight? No, sir. No, sir. I'm certainly treated enough to know that. So I just wanted to give some people some food for thought. So hopefully what I've talked about is the CAMEL, 24 hours. Talked about why do we do it at night? Probably my subconscious, so I can get better rest. And do I wake up untreated? The answer is absolutely no. This part of the book proves that I wake up knowing there's things I need to do. And thank God that's the case. But on the contrary, if I stay away from here long enough, I will become untreated. I will stop doing this in the morning, and I'll work every single one of them steps backwards. I'll stop working with people. Then I'll stop praying as much. Then I'll stop doing a 10th step. Amends are out the window. I'm stopping to think about I'm not thinking about my character defects anymore. All the way back to 1, and the last thing I do is get high because I've been dry for so long. You can see that the logical progression of it, and the best way to keep that progression of negativity from starting is to stay treated. I'll pass.